I want to get into some basketball. And by the way, a lot of people, when we post up the clips of our shows, a lot of people don't like the fact that we brought up Bradley Beal to the New York Knicks. And I understand that it's not a sell or a sale for the New York Knicks fans because he doesn't play defense. He's not the superstar that you wanted. You wanted the Damian Lillards of the world. You wanted the Kevin Durants of the world, or maybe even Kyrie Irving, which he would have ruined the team. But nevertheless, maybe him over somebody like a Bradley Beal. But what Bradley Beal gives the New York Knicks is a shooter, a guaranteed guy that's going to give you between 28 and 30 points a game. So I understand why Knicks fans are jumping and saying that they don't want to give up some of the youth and the young players that they've added, the Quigleys, the Obi Toppins, the RJ Barretts of the world. I understand that. But if you want to win and you want to compete with the Nets, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, you need that guy with a roster of talented players and a good, depthful bench. That's what they need. And to me, they're not a winning organization yet and without a superstar player. Kemba Walker's great. Is he a superstar player like a Bradley? He's not. He's not Bradley Beal. Okay? He don't play defense either. Everybody keeps talking about Bradley Beal not playing defense. How much defense do you think Kemba Walker's going to play? Now, Tom Thibodeau is going to make him play hard, but it's not going to sell that to say, oh, my God, Kemba Walker is an elite defender at his position. He's not going to be that. That's not who he is. So, New York Knicks fans, and this is not about the Knicks. This segment is not about the New York Knicks because really the stories are coming out about the Brooklyn Nets and what they're doing right now, adding the veterans and using their veteran minimal to fill in their roster. And we all know what this roster is going to be this year. They're going to be very talented with obviously Kevin Durant and Harden and Kyrie Irving still there if they can stay healthy. Bringing back Blake Griffin. And now you bring in a veteran who retired, who went to the Nets. I think he played one game with the Nets, and then the heart problem, he was out. He retired for the rest of the season, and some people said he was done for his career. And LaMarcus Aldridge signs a one-year deal worth about $2.6 million to go back to the Nets and try to help the Nets win a championship. They needed LaMarcus Aldridge in the playoffs. He would have been a big help against the Milwaukee Bucks. He really would. And then Thursday, there was a story that came out that Paul Millsap was looking at 3 to 4 playoff contending teams, and he decided to go to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Paul Millsap, he's a veteran player. He's going to be 37 years old. To me, at one point, he was one of the best power forward defenders in the NBA. That's how good he was. When he played for Utah at the top of his game, he was great. Is he the same Paul Millsap he once was? No. But if you can get 10, 12 points off the bench, a rebounding guy that can carry you at some points offensively because he's a great offensive rebounder. He averages between 7 and 8 rebounds a game. And then he can pass the ball at his position. You're now building a roster that you're going to be very scared of because you got 5 great starters and 5 bench players that you can bring in as your number 2 roster offense. Now, Blake Griffin, James Harden, Joe Harris, Kyrie Irving. Obviously, we just added Paul Millsap. And then LaMarcus Aldridge. DeAndre Jordan was
bought out and then signed with the Lakers.
So he's gone. Patty Mills signed with the Brooklyn Nets this offseason. So they have a bunch of veteran players that can compete, can really deliver, and I think they're going to be very dangerous, Speedy. This is the best net team I've seen really since Jason Kidd and that team when they went all the way to the championship two times, but couldn't get over the hump. Right. But this team is even more talented with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving.
They have exactly what they needed, and the process is working. They needed to get these guys on veteran minimums. And shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge for what he was going through and being able to come back as fast as he was. That's actually pretty impressive. And signs obviously back with the Nets. He always wanted to play there. Millsap coming off good.
I don't know if he always wanted to play there. He wanted to play with Kevin Durant.
Okay, well, fair, but it seemed like he he liked it there enough that he was favoring the Nets immediately when he said, I'm going to be cleared to play. So they bring him in there. He's a good physical big man. You got Millsap, who's, again, a smaller guy, but like you were saying, a good defender at his peak with the Utah Jazz. Then he was with Atlanta. Not as much with the Nuggets recently because he hasn't gotten as much minutes because he's had a lot of injury issues. So that's really the only risk, but that's the whole Nets team. They're all injury risk, even their superstar players. So this is exactly what the Nets needed. They needed some size. They needed some rebounding that they didn't have because they were a very guard-oriented team besides Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's obviously 6'11" and can do everything, but he can't carry the same load that he once did, especially with the injury he came off of last year. So you could tell, even when he carried everything, that the team wasn't going to get anywhere. Patty Mills, I do like. I still got Nick Claxton, a nice young center who did well for them at times.
Is he related to Speedy Claxton?
I'm not sure.
I remember Speedy. He was good. I remember. I think he played with Golden State for a little while. He played with a bunch of NBA teams. But I remember Speedy Claxton. He was fun to watch. He really was. But I'll tell you this. The Brooklyn Nets, could they compete now with the L.A. Lakers? I don't know if they're right there with the L.A. Lakers, but Kevin Durant is the second best player on both those teams. I think LeBron is still the better player. Then it's Kevin Durant, and then you can actually add Harden or Kyrie Irving or Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is the third best player on both those rosters.
So he's not related to Speedy Claxton. He's the son of Charles Claxton, who is a U.S. Virgin Island native. He did play basketball, college basketball for Georgia, and then played 1 year with the Celtics.
But I think the Brooklyn Nets are going to be very dangerous. They definitely have an opportunity to win the division, and I believe they can win the East. Milwaukee, even though they're the champions, I think Milwaukee is going to take 2 steps back. They lost a couple players this offseason. Obviously, they're not going to be as hungry after winning an NBA championship, and listen, they got very lucky. It was not that they were lucky to beat the Brooklyn Nets, but they were very lucky that Harden was 100%. They were very lucky that Kyrie Irving couldn't play in that series barely, and that's why they won that series, and that's why they went to the NBA championship playing the Western Conference champion, the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns had a great run, but they weren't the most talented team in the Western Conference, and the Lakers got knocked out as fast as they did. If the Lakers somehow squeaked past that first round, I really believe the Lakers probably would have won the championship again. But they're much more empowered now with LeBron James healthy and Anthony Davis 100% healthy, and with the players that the Lakers landed and added. You're talking about an all-star team, and an old all-star team to be exact. A bunch of veteran players, but if you have a good, strong LeBron James and an Anthony Davis at the top of his game, watch out. I think that the Lakers are very dangerous. I think it's the Brooklyn Nets and the Lakers to go to the NBA Finals. I don't see any other team with these talented rosters ever going to jump ship. Now, you got to play the game. We don't know what the Brooklyn Nets are going to be until they step on the court and they play together. But the talent that's on this team, they should be able to compete against any Eastern Conference team. They have the talent. They have the superstars that they need. So, and we know what the Lakers are, okay? We already know who they are and what they're going to be this year. They're going to be really, really scary. I wouldn't be so surprised if the Lakers win 73, 74 games this year. That's how good I think they could be if they could stay healthy.
I don't know about that just because I feel like they're going to be load managing guys too, especially since guys
Who cares?
are older.
Look at the roster they have.
No, I know that. I'm just saying they might.
Carmelo Anthony's their 8th guy off the bench.
I'm just saying they might even do it in overloads where they rest LeBron and AD at the same time, or they, again, same with their other veterans too. So I don't know about 73 wins. They're definitely going to be a top 3 seed though, if they can all stay healthy too. And obviously same thing with the Nets. And that's the biggest problem with both their teams. They just have a lot of injury prone players. Now, obviously among their both big 3, the Lakers have the advantage just for the reason of 1, James Harden has been bad in the playoffs in his career, and 2, even with LaMarcus Aldridge and
Listen
Millsap
to this roster.
now,
Ready? Listen to this roster. LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Anthony Davis, Rajon Rondo, Dwight Howard, Malik Monk, Kendrick Nunn, Marc Gasol, Wayne Ellington, Trevor Ariza. Are you kidding me? I can go on and on and on. Oh, and by the way, they just got DeAndre Jordan. Is this fair? You have a bunch of all-stars on one team.
And it's a lot of playoff experience all in one. That being said, it is a lot of older players. So I don't know if they're going to be like as high in the regular season in terms of...
They're going to win 70 or more games.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
I'm telling you.
Because I just don't know how much they're going to play. And I don't trust them all to stay healthy that consistently.
They don't have to. I mean, their roster's loaded.
No, they're loaded for sure. It's just a lot of, like you're saying, a lot of old guys too. That I don't know how much the durability.
They have a lot of young guys too. I mean, seriously, Anthony Davis is young. Malik Monk is young. Kendrick Nunn is young. LeBron James is obviously a veteran player. Russell Westbrook is, 31, 32? He's still fairly young, okay? So Rajon Rondo is older. LeBron James is older. This is a compacted, talented roster. I can't see this roster losing. They're going to win the championship.
I think they're great in the postseason the way they're set up with a lot of playoff experience. I just don't know about 70 wins in the regular season. They could even be a lower seed just because of that too. And then we see LeBron do it all the time. They're a 3 seed, they're a 4 seed. He'll still go to the finals. He finds a way. I don't doubt that for a second, especially with a lot of the playoff experience that they have. Now, the only thing that could hold them back is if Westbrook has his bad shooting nights and inefficiency that's held him back in the past. But
LeBron's
again,
there.
LeBron's there. It's the third option. I'm not as worried about that as it would be with the Nets when it comes to James Harden, because Kevin Durant can only go so far to bail him out, and they don't have the same depth the Lakers do.
It's ridiculous what the Lakers are and what the Brooklyn Nets are. I mean, the Lakers are just like an all-star of Hall of Famers. LeBron, Hall of Famer. Russell Westbrook, Hall of Famer. Carmelo Anthony, Hall of Famer. Anthony Davis, Hall of Famer. Rajon Rondo, Hall of Famer. Dwight Howard, Hall of Famer. I mean, come on. This is not fair. And they got an all-world defensive player in Trevor Ariza that could defend any position at the perimeter.
Great playoff player.
And Marc Gasol, who, by the way, is a very good defender at the center position. Mm-hmm. And then you bring in DeAndre Jordan, who also is a very good center that could defend 2 different positions. This is not fair.
Just don't make DeAndre Jordan and Dwight Howard shoot free throws and you'll be all set.
Well, I don't think that's going to matter. They're loaded with size. They're going to be the biggest team in the NBA.
For sure.
Not even a question. It's crazy. The Lakers are going to be crazy this year.